I enjoyed this one last week. Um, put on, put off. I will go first in terms of I'll give you the topics and you let me know if it's a put on or put off. Here's a segment. The first thing I've got for you, because we're getting into summer activities, rollerblading.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say put off. Was never a big
Okay.
rollerblader. I do like watching people rollerblade. I find it to be, just funny to watch people. But put off.
ASMR videos.
Put on. I could watch I could watch a shitload of ASMR videos. Does it for me.
Hot sauce.
Put on. And it didn't happen until later in my life, but now I have a much more sophisticated palate. Put on.
Gardening.
Put on. I fuck with nature. Anything nature related, I'm into. So yeah, I like gardening.
Okay. Fair. Cold brew coffee.
I'm gonna say put off. I like anything coffee, but like I don't know. It's like too much caffeine. I'm also like a hot coffee guy, so not into the cold brew.
Arcades.
Um, put off because just like I'm a grown up now. Like I don't, like that's maybe in my younger days, but now like no, I don't have any time for that.
Food trucks.
Put on. I mean, who doesn't like a good food truck?
Journaling.
Um, put on. You know what? I started doing it and I like it. I just can't stick to it. But I like the concept of it. And whenever I do it, it feels good. So put on.
Electric cars.
Um put off. I'm old school. Just give me a
Okay.
regular, traditional car.
Amazon.
Amazon, like the website,
Yeah, like the company.
put on. I use it pretty much every single day.
I was curious. Okay. Another summer activity. What about a drive-in movie?
Put on. Something about that is nostalgic to me. I can't even think of the
Nostalgic.
last time I ever did it, but um
Me neither.
makes me think of like Pee Wee Herman for some reason.
The NBA in-season tournament.
Um, put on just because like they took a chance, and I like them trying to like do new things. Put off just in the sense of like the them act when the Lakers won, them acting like they actually won something significant because it felt just like whatever, and then they ended up being terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Respect. Noise canceling headphones.
Put on. I don't own any, but
I was about to say.
but I think it's a good thing to have when you have kids.
Yup, that's fair. Um, Birkenstocks.
Um, put off because like I mean I'm a dad and there's such a dad type of shoe, sandal, whatever. But a little just too earthy for me. I don't fuck with it. I don't like the way they look.
And last one, running.
Put on. I go for a good little run in the summertime every weekend, every chance I get, and it's healthy. So put on.
Okay.
All right, you ready for
That
yours?
was, yes, sir.
All right, let's do it. Cal, put on, put off segment. Here we go. Number one, spiders.
Put off. Easy. Hate spiders.
They do eat other bugs, but okay. Sunscreen with an SPF above 50.
Put off. No sunscreen in general. I don't put on sunscreen.
Okay, so you don't put on sunscreen, but put off with SPF or any sunscreen.
Put off with SPF.
All right. The
Funny.
the TBT spinoff for soccer, TST.
Put on. Heavy put on. Brilliant. Put on. Loved it. Pat McAfee. Like, yeah, I want to compete in it next year. Put on.
Okay. Not surprised by that. Um, Telling people that you got a concussion.
If I was in a different stage of my life, put on. It's still a put on. It's still a put on because it's an easy. Yeah, put
It's a
on.
good
Put on.
story, right?
Yeah, I wish it was cooler what happened to me, but yeah, it's not fun. I will say that having a concussion has been one of the shittiest weeks I've had in a
Yeah,
while,
well, I'm
but
not talking about actually getting the concussion. I'm just
I know
telling
you're
people
talking
that
about
you
telling people.
get. Degrassi.
Put on. Baller. Hopefully brings home some gold for Canada.
How about that the wet mop hairstyle that guys have, young guys.
Put off. Yeah, especially it's now that it's summertime. It's summertime. Put off. Buzz cut over that.
Okay, word. Sebastian Maniscalco.
um, put off. No reason aside from yeah, that's just a put off.
Okay. How about Caitlin Clark not making the USA team?
Crazy put off. Ridiculous. What she's done for women's basketball, and she doesn't make the women's Olympic team. Man, massive put off.
Okay. Kendrick Lamar.
Hmm. That's a good one. Kendrick still put on. Kendrick put on. He's done enough. I like Kendrick. I don't love Kendrick, um, but and the Drake shit, but put on.
BBLs.
um, put off like I don't I don't dabble. No.
You like it all natural. Um,
Yeah,
Sydney
exactly.
Sweeney.
As an actress, she's had some hits. She's had some not hits. The last I watched, the last movie I saw of Sydney Sweeney was I got hit in the head, so you have to forgive me for forgetting what it's called. But it was the one. It was a romantic one with Glenn Powell. Put on, but not. But she's kind of in the middle, like just put on.
Very mature of you to say as an actress before evaluating her. Um, Emojis.
Still put on. The handshake emoji just does it for me. I mean, I feel like it's more personable. Put on emojis still.
Unlimited vacation days as a benefit at work.
That's very interesting because I have unlimited PTO. I would say put off because what it'll do is you then actually end up taking way less days than what you would take if you had, 30 or 20 vacation days. So put off in general.
Yeah, it's the biggest scam going. How about people who use the word macro in their daily vernacular?
Put off. If someone's throwing out economic terms in their day to day, I don't want to be spending time around them too much just right now. So yeah, put off.
Roaring kitty.
Put on heavy. Brilliant. I mean, that's he's historic. I've heard, you know, it's changed a little bit, but the he did a live stream, and I mean, bro, from one stock he had more than $1 billion paper value, or more than 700 million options and 350 mil stock. I've heard, and I'm calling it here. Roaring Kitty is potentially going to join the board of directors of GameStop now that they have a crazy amount of cash on hand, and that's why he got rid of his options for just common stock, and apparently he might join the board of directors. Roaring Kitty, the story, him as a person, put on.
Very long explanation for your put on. Last one. The Waste Management Phoenix Open.
Put on. Best tournament in golf.
Yeah, okay.
Just on that last note, you've never been to a waste management, but have you been to a golf tournament? I'm curious.
Yeah, a golf tournament. Back in so long ago. Back in the day, I went to the US Open. I actually didn't even go to the real like US Open, but I went to the practice round at Shinnecock. And
Oh yeah, yeah,
funny,
yeah.
funny, just like little story, but it was very memorable. We were watching all these guys like warm up. And I remember two things. One, Phil Mickelson just being like the nicest guy, signing all the autographs, whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the second one just being that everybody loved Freddie Couples. And I just remember like he was beloved. And it was part of the reason why maybe subconsciously I named my kid Freddie.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That needs to be a clip in itself. I named my kid Freddie after Freddie Couples. That's not, I know, but that's it. Yeah, that's
You know, like when somebody's got one of those names where it's just like, oh, everybody loves that guy. Freddie,
yeah.
you
You
know, he's a
can't
good
hate
guy.
Freddie.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah,
And it turns out my Freddie is kind of like
yeah.
that too. You can't hate him.
To that point, yeah. I know some Freds, but I also know a few Freddies, and Freddie is just always a good time. Like Freddie, yeah, it's a good name. Props. Let's move on. Half baked ideas. We love this segment. I want you to go first. Hit me with a half baked idea.
Okay. So I'm at the pool the other day. Let me set the stage. I'm at the pool the other day. Some guy sitting near
Sure.
me with his significant other, and he goes,
Yeah.
honey, can you please spray this suntan lotion on my back? And it dawned on me that we have all of this technology now, right? And yet somehow we still haven't cracked a way to spray your own back with suntan lotion. Okay. Now, granted,
Yeah.
if you have a friend or a significant other, then yeah, of course you could just have them do it for you. But what about all of those billions of single people out there, or the ones that are in relationships and their significant others are just selfish and they refuse to help them, right? So, so basically, what it is a suntan lotion applicator for your back, or bug spray, or
Okay.
any other spray that you would put on your
Like
back,
mosquito spray.
yeah,
Yeah,
that you
yeah, yeah.
can't reach. And the way I envision it is basically as like a contraption that's in a similar vein to a selfie stick, right? But instead of it going like straight up, it would be curved so that it would go over your shoulder, almost like a backpack strap, right?
Yeah.
And then you're holding it in the front. You would have like a handle with a lever, um, and then you'd put the lotion in like a little thing in the front that would connect to it, and you'd be able to like kind of like use it like this. It goes over your shoulder, and then you could kind of like move it this way or that way, and it could spray your own back. And I got a name for it too.
What's the name?
One word. We got your back.
That's fire. That's great fucking marketing play.
Yeah, you like that?
Uh, I've never even thought about that. Yeah, that's a good shout.
Isn't that
I
crazy? Isn't
think.
that crazy? Like we're still doing that, like where somebody's gotta like fucking
Yeah,
spray you, like you can't do it yourself.
I thought you were gonna say that this guy was spraying her beside you, and you were getting like the after effect. I always hate when you're at the pool or you're at the beach or you're at somewhere, and someone's decided to spray sunscreen or mosquito repellent, and it fucking is getting like you're getting it in the mouth
Right, and
now. Like I,
the wind is like spraying it all
yeah,
over.
and they have no regard for your like. I'm like, bro, fucking spray it the other way, you dick. Like,
To
yeah,
be honest, I
yeah.
don't even fuck with the spray. I'm lotion only, but because like I just don't think the spray works, and I
It's
don't.
just practical.
Yeah,
It's like
I
easier,
get
but
it.
yeah,
I just feel like it doesn't work. You said you don't even use suntan lotion though.
no, yeah, I'm not a suntan lotion. I mean, I also live in a place that is shit for 90% of the time, but yeah, I'm like I'll hit the sun hard. I don't use suntan lotion. I'll get super red, I'll peel, but then at that point I have a base and I just won't. I mean, living in Dubai and stuff, I was tan. But yeah, I don't use
Well,
suntan
that's what I was
lotion.
gonna say. You're
I've
kind of
never
like
used it.
fair skinned. I would think that you would get like really badly burnt. No.
The first time, yeah, but then you build a base and then you don't. So yeah, I always deal with the burn, but it's just something that I deal with these days.
I
I
have a
mean,
buddy who swears by the fact of like not using suntan lotion. Shout out to my boy Samara. He's like he basically claims that we aren't meant to be using suntan lotion, and that like yeah you get burnt because that's like your body's not used to the sun because you're putting suntan
yeah,
lotion on it.
I don't know if yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I think that like I mean it's like anything. It's not suntan lotion isn't a natural thing. You know, there's been lots of studies come out that debunks. You know, they say, you know, you don't want to be out in the sun too long. Don't look at the sun. All these things, and obviously we can't look directly at the sun, but like you know, now there's studies coming out saying sunlight in your eyes first thing in the morning is the best thing for you. You need to spend X amount of time outside. Sun, you know, vitamin D, all these things. So yeah, I can believe what he's saying. I don't feel so strongly about that. I just think that yeah, I'm natural over not. You know, we talked about it with BBL. But I'm just a you know I don't like GMOs in my food. Like yeah,
I hear you.
just keep things the way they are.
All right, you got a half baked idea for us or what?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, mine is very different. Mine has to do because I've been deep in it the last month. Call it has to do with crypto. And so you know, you've been telling me to buy, and again, none of this is financial advice. You've been telling me to buy, you know, a couple different coins, a couple different crypto projects, and it's ridiculous, like to buy things. You know, you gotta make an account on here and fucking send it. And it's just like there's so many things, and every coin is on a different exchange. All these things. So my idea and is to just aggregate everything onto one app, one platform where it goes on and it pulls APIs from every single other platform. But anything you could want to buy in the crypto world is just on this one platform where it's a one stop shop. I don't have to like send here, it's an easy interface. And it's just like, okay, like, you know, if this specific coin is on Mex, like the one of the
Yeah,
it'll automatically be on my app and it'll pull me to there, but it's all on the same UI, it's on the same thing. So just aggregating every single platform that's out there and being a one-stop shop, buy any crypto you want. um so yeah, that's my half-baked
it
idea.
makes sense.
um
It makes a lot of sense because it's you have to be fucking Jason Bourne to buy one of these cryptos, right?
Dude,
It's like the
it's
most
insane.
ridiculous thing.
And on that note, the one thing that I want to discuss is just the fact that I saw a tweet and it said, you know, everyone, what the society tells you to do and what you learn in school and what the government pushes and all these things is, you know, save money, invest, you know, open a RRSP, you know, we have these in Canada, TFSA, a 401k, whatever it is, and, you know, contribute to it monthly and invest in the stock market, which is essentially just putting money back into the overall economy, which is fine. And, you know, you'll make 7-10% a year, whatever. But inflation is close to that anyway. Oh, think about it though. You'll get rich when you're 65, but at the end of the day, if everyone's being told to do that, not everyone can be uber wealthy, and not everyone like so you know, it doesn't make sense to do what they're telling you or what everyone else is doing, because you can't outperform anyone if you're doing the same shit. Like, don't stick to the status quo, especially as a young. And I understand it's different when you have a family and different things, but especially anyone my age or anyone, you know, without major responsibilities, even if you have responsibilities but you're younger, it would be ridiculous to try to do what everyone else is doing to attain a level of financial freedom or wealth, because that's just not how society works, and that makes no sense. You have to do shit different. You have to take risks. That's why crypto is such a big thing. But like, I wouldn't sit here and do anything that everyone else is doing, because we all can't be wealthy.
Preach. And I mean, also, bro, like, who the fuck wants to wait till they're 60 or 70 years old to like have
It's,
money?
yeah,
Who says
that
who says
alone.
we're even
But
gonna make
some
it
people,
that long?
and that's why again, I should watch what I say, but that's why like an RRSP, I don't know specifically what it is in the US, but like in Canada, the RRSP is a tax-free retirement investing, but you can only access it after you're 65. And so if you want to take it out before you're 65, it's like a 50% penalty. Like they take 50% of the stuff. Like you already get taxed 50% capital gains, all this shit. It's all ridiculous. But yeah, what I said, that whole spiel, I want to see how you felt, and you said preach. So
It's a
yeah, it'd
scam.
just be
All
ridiculous to
the
do
shit,
something.
all those things are a scam. 401ks, Social
All of it.
Security, like, give me a fucking break, man. And honestly, like, again, if they're telling you this or if they're teaching you this, like, but those aren't the people that are actually like getting rich, and the people that are getting rich are doing all these other things. Well, obviously, they they don't want you to know how they actually make
Yeah.
money and how to
Oh
actually get
no.
rich.
Then that's why they don't teach anything that has to do with finances or anything in general in education, in the traditional education system. So yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. We could probably go on this forever, but that was a half baked idea segment that turned into, there's probably a good short form from that kind of rant. But again, we kind of got to be, whatever. Let's
Yeah, let's move
get
on.
into the next segment. Did you want to do found this interesting, or should we jump into socially appealing?
I do want to do one.
Sure, sure. All right.
Okay.
So Derek found this interesting, or you tee it up.
I'll tell you what I found interesting. Okay. I caught a clip the other day of some older gentleman named John Gottman, who is a psychologist, a professor, and a relationship expert. And short clip, maybe like 30 seconds. And what he said was, men who kiss their wives goodbye before they leave for work live on average 4 years longer than men who don't. And not only that, that kisses that last 6 seconds, as opposed to like a peck on a cheek or a 20
Yeah,
second hug, are the most effective, because then you and your partner are both secreting oxytocin, which is a
yeah,
hormone produced in the
yeah,
brain that plays a role in reproduction, but also social interactions. And it's sometimes referred to as the love hormone, right? So
yeah,
oxytocin creates a sense of psychological safety, connection, and bonding with your partner. And they've found that it leads to longevity. So I found that really interesting. And, anyways, I told my wife about it, and we've tried it a few times. And I got to tell you, first off, 6 second kiss, that's a long kiss. Like, it's like you're
You
not,
guys, are you guys counting? Like in your
yeah,
hand,
I'm in my head, I'm
one.
counting. And it's really at like, by the time you reach like 3 or 4 seconds, it's not even like a kiss. It's kind of like you're just like, your lips are just like there. But if it's gonna add years to my life, then pucker up, babe. I'm coming for that 6 second smooch.
That is interesting. I feel like that makes a lot of sense. It's to me, it sounds like one of those things where it's like, you know, if you drink a glass of red wine every night, you will live 2 years longer. I think for a majority of the people, maybe, sure, whatever. And for you, hopefully, and for lots of people, I think, one of those things where everyone lives longer from doing something, I think is obviously ridiculous. But, I mean, yeah, they say people who, you know, have sex, a few times a week or every day or whatever it is, live long. Like there's a lot of benefits from the hormonal perspective. So I can imagine the 6 second kiss. Yeah, I can get behind that. I definitely am a kiss before I leave kind of
I
guy.
like these scientific, like, facts that I was never aware of. But
Phenomenon.
you should definitely try out the 6 second kiss with Jules. I haven't done the 20 second hug, but I feel like that probably feels like you're like just like standing there for forever. But I gotta try that one
your,
out as well.
your legs are gonna start shaking.
Right? It's a long, long embrace. So that's what I
Yeah,
found
I
interesting.
I probably do the 20 second hug too if I'm going for a long time. So yeah, hopefully live longer. But that's interesting. Appreciate you sharing. I like that segment. I actually, there's a few things. Again, I got knocked in the head, but I will have a found interesting segment next week. Because actually, like you just saying that sparked a few things, but I'm like, I swear to God, I'm trying to dig. Like the top of my head just feels
You
numb.
got brain
And when
fog.
I try to dig to a certain, yeah, yeah, you know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna fucking try and explain this. Um, so next segment,
Yeah, let's do it.
socially appealing. I will go
Let's
first.
do it.
I am going to hit you with a creator that is, the definition of socially appealing, in my opinion. And that is, I think, good food. like just the social and short form of seeing beautiful food, being eaten and tasted and enjoyed. Jack's Dining Room is this guy. He's a popular food content creator. Goes to like big spots, New York, London, big cities, and tries the most trending, famous things. He recently was in London, so I was getting clips of like chocolate covered strawberries, like they like have the strawberries in cups, and it's a chocolate fountain, and it's like looked amazing. Paella, all these things, the best steakhouse in New York, and there's something to me just about like food content creation as a whole, but as like a trend, and just again, it's more so the beauty. I think food is an art, man. Just like the beauty of some of these dishes, and then me imagining how they taste. Yeah. So Jack's Dining
I've
Room,
seen that
shout
guy
out.
before. I've seen that guy before. I like
Yeah,
his
you
content.
definitely
No,
have.
you're right. Any type of like food content is, especially when it's like something where you're like, oh shit, like I'm local, I can go try that out. But are you one of those guys that takes pictures of your food?
No, never, never. But
Good.
I want to. I kind of like these guys are inspiring me to. Man, how dope would it be to be a food influencer, and all you go, you try the best food and you rate it? Like I would love
It's
that, man.
actually, you're right.
That and like hotels and stuff.
Great gig. It's a great gig. You're 100% right. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of food content lately too. What's your other one though?
Yeah, my other one is a little hard to explain. It's like this. You have to have seen it, but the Planet Apes movie, the Rise of the Planet of the Apes movie, is out or whatever, and there's this like monkey in distress from the movie, and he's kind of like, "Oh no," and there's all these things where it's kind of it's a lot of dark humor, actually, but I'll send you a few, but yeah, essentially it's mocking someone. The one that I just saw, and it's pretty fucked up. Don't get me wrong. Actually, I I don't even want to say it because you're from New York.
Say it.
Someone just sent it to me, but like, and again, we might have to cut this. But for example, it'll be a green screen of like the twin towers, and it'll be like the caption will be like someone in 2001, waking up late for work or whatever, and then it's the monkey like, "Oh no," and
That
it's
is fucked up, dude.
no, I know. That's what I was
Too
saying. It's
soon.
fucked up, but
Too soon.
no, I know. But that might, but there's other ones that are actually like, that's the darkest humor. I was
Okay.
giving you like the extreme,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah.
I was telling you this before. You're into a lot of monkey themed social trends because I remember the tambourine monkey one, right?
Oh, that's the one you're talking about,
Yeah.
the tambourine. Yeah, I just like do you know which one I was my favorite out of all of them though? The dog ones. Like those dogs that it were that music like and it's the dogs like looking at each other. You must
I
have
think
seen
I know
those.
what
That
you're
was
talking.
that
Yeah.
trend was
Yeah, I know what you're talking.
yeah, the dog, but it's just like the dumbfounded animals which are just like over green screens and stuff with funny those trends are hilarious to
So
me.
many good trends, and I'm gonna give you a trend that I've really enjoyed lately. Okay, so I've been having these videos pop up on my feed lately, and it's one of these TikTok dance challenges, but instead of like the typical Gen Z, kids dancing, a lot of them have text on screen that will say, I asked my parents to dance to this song like they would have in the 80s. And then it's one of,
Oh, I love those.
those, and then it's one of these
Yeah,
boomers, like couples dancing
yeah,
in an 80s style way.
like
Yeah, and
yeah,
I don't know why, but it's just like it instantly transports me to the 80s, and I think look, I think one part of it has to do with the song that's in every one of the videos. Like that track is a banger. It's tantalizing. You know what I'm? Do you know the song I'm talking about?
yeah.
I
One
looked it
hundred
up.
percent.
It's called "Small Town Boy" by some '80s synth pop band called Bronski Beat. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say to that point, it just shows how important a song is to a short form clips. Like
Yeah.
I will watch even any clip, but I'll watch it if the song encapsulates me and brings me in. I'll watch the clip. It could be the shittiest clip in the world, but it just shows how important the music is.
100%. And yeah, and it's like I'm not really into 80s music that much, but like that song is great. And then the other part of it is just seeing the different styles and like the individuality of all these parents and their dance moves and kind of like envisioning them in their youth. 80s dance moves are hilarious too. Like, so there's that as well. So funny to just like, cause I remember my dad dancing like back in the day at like whatever, we'd be at a party or whatever. And I would just be like, what the fuck? Like, what kind of dance move? And it's so specific to that decade. And so every time I see one of these videos, I'm just like, okay, that's like how he used to dance back in the day.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, and definitely get a kick out of those videos.
Great trend. And the last thing I'll say about it is just like, I think the other thing that's charming about it is just, again, you always see all these kids doing these dance challenges, these TikTok dances. So it's nice for a change to just see like the older generation
Yeah,
dancing, and it's so, yeah, I think my wife,
I would also
what were you gonna say? What?
I would also say sorry. I would also say that there's something therapeutic around watching like older people
Yeah.
dance.
Yeah. 100%. I don't know why there's something like really, I guess therapeutic is the right word. It's like they have like a different rhythm to it. They're like dancing like Carlton from Fresh
Yeah,
Prince. Um,
yeah, yeah.
so that's a trend, and then a creator that I've just seen, and like I can't even tell if I really like this creator, but I think that what they do is good and interesting. Is It's a guy named, I think it's ZV at ZV Universe, and so this guy is like a big green screen video guy who, again, has popped
Yeah.
up on my timeline a lot. And what's caught my attention about him is that he's really a good storyteller, and he has a way of drawing you in with the way he talks. He'll be like, I've seen like videos of him doing like things about like Drake, and I was watching one about P Diddy,
Yeah.
and he'll be like, see, P. Diddy was a media mogul that was seemingly on top of the world, but little did the world know that he was hiding a dark secret, And so he talks in like
Yeah, he's
that
great at
way.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
He he almost I've seen a few. I haven't like gone so in depth with him, but I've seen a few of his videos, and yeah, it's one of those things where the way he talks just makes you want to like. I can't not watch
yeah,
because when he says what he's saying, I'm like, okay, well, now I'm already watched it. I need to know what he's about to say. Like he's great at teeing up the next thing.
definitely. And to your point before about the music, a lot of those clips have this like really like ominous music, and again,
Yeah,
it's like, what's he about to say? Like, oh my god! I watched this clip of him talking about Drake and all the enemies that he has this morning, and it's fucking crazy how many people hate Drake. Like now I get why Kendrick went at him and all the guys went at him, like because he basically was kind of violating in a lot of ways. But anyways, this guy does a great job of storytelling. And you know what? I'll say this last piece just on social. Like I was having a meeting the other day, and I was kind of like pitching this idea of like doing like almost like a documentary style, docu-series style show about creators. And somebody was
yeah,
like, you're talking about like influencers. And I think there's still this thing where like a lot of people that aren't immersed in social see creators as influencers. Like there's no distinction between the two. But there is a big distinction because the creators that we're talking about, they are really great at storytelling. They're really great at kind of finding whatever niche that they have and being able to kind of, lean into whatever angle it is. And again, it goes back to being able to tell a good story and keeping people engaged. So, I'm always endlessly just amazed and fascinated by how many creative people are out there on social that are, incredible storytellers.
that's a good point. diminishing the title of influencer and more like now leaning in and doubling down on creator because yeah, I mean, to your point, everyone who is successful on social media nowadays, I think you need to be a good creator and you need to have chops to then become an influencer because to have influence, you need to, have a following and be talented. But yeah, I think, and now even with brands and I keep, there's ads that pop up on my TikTok, but it's creators that I watch and honestly, until I look at the description and see hashtag ad or whatever, I might as well just be watching another one of their videos because it's integrated so organically and they would make content around that anyway. So yeah, the creative juices of individuals and creative ability is fucking significant as fuck. And I'm sure you can appreciate it as a creative director and in your, realm as well. So
I would say all
yeah,
creators are influencers, but not all influencers are creators, if that makes sense. Like a fitness influencer or like some like mom influencer, like aren't I don't consider them all creators. I don't consider them all storytellers, I like so I do
yeah.
think there's a real difference between those two things.
I think there's a difference between a storyteller and a creator as well though, like someone doesn't need to necessarily be a good storyteller to be a good content creator
Fine.
per se if their style of content is different, like
Maybe there's
for your
three levels of distinctions there. Then there's storyteller, there's creators, there's influencers, and there's some overlap between those
yeah,
titles.
there'd be a lot of good in that. Cool, yeah, no, those are good too. Let's dive into let me put you on or dad thoughts.
Let's do. Let me put you on because I want to put you on a couple of things. We could finish with a dad thought that I have. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. A couple of things to put you on to. One is you ever listen to the podcast, The Diary of a CEO, with Stephen Bartlett?
Oh, of course, yeah. Stephen Bartlett. I again, when you said Diary of a CEO, I was about to spit out his name, but the brain fog took over. He's British though.
Yeah.
I know Stephen Bartlett.
First off, any British guy, like their voice, there's something really, I don't know. It's just obviously like they have a great accent, but whatever the case may be, the reason I listened to a couple of his episodes. I like his pod. I listened to one recently though that kind of stuck with me, and it was his guest was a guy named James Sexton, right? So this guy is a top divorce lawyer, and
Hmm.
I was just like, okay, let's give it a chance.
Yeah,
Basically, they delved into the intricacies of modern relationships and the reasons behind some of the the high divorce rates. And so some of the things they discussed were like the link between sex and divorce, mainly in regards to intimacy and infidelity.
yeah,
He talked about prenuptial agreements and some of the misconceptions, which was pretty interesting. Um, some of the myths surrounding marriage and how unrealistic expectations can contribute to marital
yeah,
dissatisfaction. Which, by the way, it's like that one kind of resonates with me just in just insofar as like I see that a lot in a lot of relationships where like people come in with these unrealistic expectations. You have this expectation of the certain life that you're going to have with a partner, and then it doesn't kind of lead to that, and it becomes a big sticking point in a lot of relationships. And so that kind of um, discussion was like really interesting to me. And then the last thing that I just found interesting about it was just this guy overall. James Sexton came across as a really unique and engaging and layered individual because he was super candid. And you would think somebody like this who's just immersed in people's relationships that have gone bad would be like a cynic. And it turns out
yeah,
he's a romantic and like a strong believer in the
yeah.
concept of love and marriage. So I just I thought it was a really good podcast episode that you got to check out.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, and Stephen Bartlett is a great
Great
interviewer as
interviewer.
well. Yeah,
He's a young guy too. I mean, relative to me, I
he's
didn't
young.
realize he was like so young. Um,
He he's he's got to be like 30 if I had to put a number on it.
30? Yeah.
Stephen
I think I
Bartlett is
remember him saying something like that to a previous guest. And then I just want to put you onto two artists real quick. Okay. So, first artist is an up and coming female rapper hailing from Tennessee whose name is Samara Cyn. Okay. Um,
yeah,
she caught my attention because she has this raspy voice that's really unique and kind of reminds me a little bit of Erica Badu. And her
yeah,
style is a mix of rap and neo soul. There's definitely some like real depth and introspection to her music. The first clip I noticed, or like the first time I saw her, was in a clip in a video for a track called Green Eyes, which was just like, you know, one of those. Well, actually, Green Eyes is the name of a Erica Badu track. I don't know if that's like coincidental, but
mm,
and I was just like, whoa, like she's got like an amazing voice. Like, who is this? Who is this girl? And then her on the radar freestyle is fire. It's amazing, and again, like she's got a very unique voice. Really into her, so I'm very interested to see, you know, how her future progresses and what's next for her. Samara Cyn, check her out. That's number one.
yeah, yeah.
Number two, Ian, the rapper. Kind of funny when
The
your
rapper.
rap name is just like Ian, right? But like,
Oh, hilarious.
I
Yeah,
mean, I literally know 1,000 Ians. I feel like, but um, he's a white rapper, and he's all over my feed in the last like month or two. He's out of St. Louis, Missouri. He's got an album that's like recent called Valedictorian, and he's on the cover dressed as that kid in the famous "You know I had to do it to him" meme, which is
yeah, yeah,
which is
yeah. That's
hilarious,
funny.
right? And he's got two like real notable singles off the album that you might be familiar with. Figure It Out and Never Stop. Figure It Out in particular is the one that kind of like got my attention, um and he's got this like rap style that you wouldn't, if you didn't see him, you would be like, this is not who I thought was rapping, right? Like if you just heard
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um which is really cool, and the music video for it's really dope too. It's just like his family sitting around the
I haven't
table.
seen that.
Have you seen that or no?
No, I haven't. No, no, no.
Outside, like enjoying a meal together. So I keep seeing him pop up all over the place. He was kicking it with Yachty and Caribou and that whole crew recently, and
Yeah.
he's just blowing up. And so just wanted to put you onto him, even though you probably already know him.
Yeah, I've heard those couple songs. Yeah, he's good, and he will probably continue. If people haven't heard of him, he'll probably continue to blow up. So yeah, check out Ian. That's a good call out. We got to put that out. But yeah, good too. Appreciate that. And yeah, what is your what is your dad thought?
That thought, real quick, is just, as some people know, I'm the coach of a couple flag football teams for my kids. And we were recently in the championship of my oldest son's
You guys won,
game.
right?
Yes, and we won, and it was amazing. It was a really close game, um, and there were a lot of people like watching the game on the sidelines, which is always interesting. Super intense. My son's 8 years old, right? I take that back. He's 9 years old, but it's eight under, and we're in like this like crazy game, and kind of like the thought I had was, there was this play that happened, and basically what happened was we were up 7-0, 4 minutes left in the game. They're driving on us to try and tie it up, right? And quarterback drops back to throw. My son, who I'm just like being completely honest, is, I wouldn't say is top. He's not like the top three best player on the team. Like he's
Yeah.
really good and he's athletic, but he's like inconsistent. Like sometimes he shows up, sometimes he doesn't. Like um. But my son, he like jumps a route and makes this incredible interception, and he's taking it back the other way, right? And it's like he's taking it to the house, pick six, to basically win our championship. They call it the Super Bowl in
That's
in
wild.
flag football.
Yeah,
And
that's sick.
I am running full speed down the field, like, it was one. I tell people this. It was one of the top three like most joyous moments of my entire life. It was incredible, and I'm like grabbed him and I'm
Yeah.
hugging him and I'm so excited. And then all of a sudden everybody's like, wait. And like we turn around, they're like, there's a flag. And I'm like, what? And they call some bullshit flag that the rusher, there's a guy that's supposed to rush in 3 Mississippi, that he didn't rush in. They drop back into coverage. I've never even seen them call this play, this flag ever in my entire life. And anyways, it wipes out this amazing play. And lo and behold, we end up, they drive down and they actually score a touchdown. We stop them on their extra point. We win the game 7-6. So like we win. We win the championship. Very exciting. But on my drive home, I'm thinking to myself, like, oh man, like I just wish, like, why couldn't God have just given me that one? Like I just wanted it for my son so bad. It was such a memorable play.
Yeah.
And I'm telling
Yeah.
him, like, dude, that was like one of the most amazing plays. And he's like, but dad, it didn't count and all this stuff. And like after maybe like a day or two, I'm just like watching the replay of it because somebody got it on camera. It's amazing. It's such a great play.
Yeah.
And I come to this realization, like, he made the play. Like, I'm always going to remember that play. Like, and
Yeah. Yeah.
and I told him, I'm like, look, dude, like you have that in you. Like you have that potential in you. Like you made that play. That nobody's going to take that away from you. Everybody saw it. I put it on Instagram as like a story, and like a bunch of people reached out to me and they were like, "Oh my God, what a play." And it's crazy. I guess the dad thought I have is just, I get very caught up in just, it's taking years off my life coaching these flag football teams. And
That's
literally
so
the
funny.
kids drive me so fucking crazy. And like, it's just, I get anxiety about it. And it's like so stressful and it's thankless and all that. But I was telling my wife, like, it's also so memorable. Like, I'm always going to remember it. And I love, like, kind of like just like coaching the kids. And honestly, for like 24 hours, I felt like Nick Saban. Like, people were like calling me. I felt like I was like going into like restaurants and they were saying, like, yeah, your money's no good
That's
here.
so
No,
funny.
I mean, that didn't actually happen, but like, that's what it felt like. I felt like I was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
real, power,
Big,
power five,
yeah. Power
like,
coach.
yeah, coach. But that's my dad thought.
Your dad thought is to be there for, and
I
but
guess
to
I
sum
didn't
it all
have
up.
a specific. I guess my dad thought is that. I guess my dad thought is like when you're a dad, you end up doing these things that are kind of thankless. You have these responsibilities. You end up in positions that you didn't like ask for. Like I kind of got put into the coaching position because a friend of mine, like had to step away, and so I took it over.
Yeah.
And as much as like it is really a big cause of stress and it's like a lot of work and it's logistics and I have to like coordinate all these things or whatever. I love it, and I there's a part of me that really loves it. And there's a part of me that knows that I will look back and my kids will look back and remember, like, they'll think back,
The moments like you just. Yeah.
they'll
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
about it
The
fondly
moment.
and they'll remember that their dad was their coach. And so there's something sweet about it.
No doubt. I love that. Um, well, cool, man. No, I obviously can't relate, but yeah, I think there is something special to be said about those moments that you'll cherish and remember, even if the play didn't count, because you felt that much joy. So yeah,
One day you're going to
that's
coach Cal Jr., right? And you'll know exactly what I'm
yeah.
talking about. And I'll have all the,
I
I'll
can't
give
wait.
you all the cheat codes and all the tips and tools.
I'll make sure to write them down on my playbook. All right, bro. Good shit. We'll talk soon. Put on. We out. Thank you for tuning into the Put On Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and don't forget to follow us on social at the Put On Pod.